After getting over my initial shock that Theresa May had decided to do a complete 360 and call a snap election, I didn't know whether to cry or clap. Cry, because if the polls and political analysis is to be believed, this could spell the end of the Labour Party as we know it. Clap at the sheer political shrewdness of Mrs May. Unfortunately, Jeremy Corbyn played right into Theresa May's perfectly manicured hands. By not taking a clear pro-Europe stance, he has made the Lib Dems the party of the 48%, a position they do not have the infrastructure to fully accommodate. As a lifelong Labour supporter, it pains me to say the current shadow cabinet does not look like a government in waiting, and Jeremy Corbyn certainly does not instill confidence in me or the electorate. If, as expected, Labour does lose badly in June, and if the party breaks up as a result, casting us into the political wilderness for at least a decade, Jeremy Corbyn will have a lot to answer for.
So, June, yet again, I find myself agreeing with you. This is all very strange, honestly. I actually agree with what your synopsis of the Labour Party is, and I find it really sad.
It's sad.
Because for me, I've not mentioned it before, I'm sure, but I'm from Hull, and it's born, and it's really hard to understand if you're not like this, but you're born and bred Labour, and it is instilled. It's like it's just instilled into
in
you
your
at a young
DNA.
age. Yeah,
It's the same.
and it's black and white. It's Labour is for us, the working people, and Tory are for the posh people. That's how it is. No, but it's not even necessarily said. It's just understood. And it is within your... It's like a tribe and it's like a loyalty. So if you talk to people and they'll go, I'm Labour, I vote Labour, they don't even stop and think why. They don't even stop and think how's Labour affecting them. They just vote Labour. And I think that this time around, they're in a bit of, turmoil because it's like, well, who do I vote for? So if you're in a Brexit seat, like what our family seat is, you're in a Brexit seat, you want Brexit, so then you feel that the Tories are the party that represent Brexit, but then...
not the party that represents you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel bad for those people. I feel that the Labour Party has done a terrible job, and I feel it's a real shame. There's some very decent people in the Labour Party, people who I have a lot of respect for, but the party as a whole, it's unelectable.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just so upsetting to have to say this, and I think really there are... Go on.
I'll come up with another view. It could be the saving of the Labour Party, because let's say they get 150 seats. I'm assuming Corbyn goes.
He's not going to go.
I mean, if he doesn't go, then I think the thing breaks apart.
Go.
But
on the Friday, June the 9th.
Let's look at what we're dealing with here, Nick Ferrari. This is a man who literally 90% of the PLP said we have no confidence in, and he still stayed. Does this look like somebody who listens?
No, but a hammering defeat in the election.
I mean, don't know.
It's hard to imagine any self-respecting
right now,
leader.
I don't know.
For in the interest of fairness, we haven't really set out what Labour is saying in the election. So here is the Shadow Chancellor. If I sound unenthusiastic, I can't explain why. John McDonnell setting out Labour's strategy for the election. Let's hear what he has to say.
Once we get into the debate about the real issues, the policies, about what's happening to our health service, education, what's happening to the economy, what's happening to care for the elderly, and also what's happening about our future relationship with Europe, once we get into that debate, I think you'll see the polls narrow and the prospects of a Labour government. I think that's why she's avoiding the televised debate, because if you look at what happened to Jeremy Corbyn when he was elected leader of the Labour Party, no one gave him a chance whatsoever. And then he had the first live TV debate with the other candidates, and all of a sudden he became a candidate who could win.
I just want to say about that, I mean, I agree that these issues, the NHS, education, social care, they're crucially important, but to act that Brexit is not the defining issue of this election, to me, is complete madness. But, Greg, you didn't quite finish your analysis.
Yeah, so you were saying you think this is a...
Yeah.
Go on, tell us.
Well, my analysis is that the Labour Party, when it comes down to 150, 160, 170 seats...
So they've got 229 at the moment.
They'll come, I think they'll come well down, don't know by how many. I think either he resigns, in which case the left won't have probably enough votes amongst MPs to put up another candidate.
Out of this new batch.
Out of the new batch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or if he doesn't resign, then the thing falls apart.
and then they break away.
And then the MPs have to stand up and say, well, he's got to go. We don't care what the constituency parties say. We don't care. Is he going to go?
And how is this good for the Labour Party?
Well, no, I say because he could get rid of Corbyn. It gets rid of Corbyn 3 years earlier than they could otherwise have got rid of him.
This is a very expensive way to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn, because the result is going to be that it will be interpreted validly, really, by Theresa May as a ringing endorsement for her Brexit strategy, which it isn't. It's just that people feel they can't vote for Corbyn.
But that's life. C'est
Yeah.
la vie. We are where the Labour Party is where it is, and that is, it's got a guy leading it who doesn't have the who's unelectable, doesn't have the confidence of his own MPs, and certainly doesn't have the confidence of a lot of members of his party.
June, you are a talented journalist and broadcaster, but I noted from your introduction to this conversation that you said that Labour could be set for a wipe. You know that Labour's set for a wipeout, and what I take from that clip, which you introduced from the Shadow Chancellor, like it was double physics homework. I've never seen such reluctance. Oh, here he is. These are the people that you used to endorse. What I take from that, which I find truly frightening, is that the once great Labour Party, because it was, phenomenal success that it was, is effectively pinning its hopes on a TV debate against Theresa May. And that's the best they've got. And by the way, on the debate, I think she's absolutely right. Why should she do the debate? Why should she do the debate? They're not going to get it.
All right, but the argument from those in the Labour Party who sees this as an opportunity is they say, look, the Tories were down at 140 seats not that long ago. You know, when Blair was in power and they were down to 140 odd seats. This is about renewal. And
you've got a lot of leaders, though, Greg. How many leaders?
Sure. No,
but don't forget, back to what I was... Sorry, Greg. Back to the point of before the break, what I was saying, that there are a lot of people within the party to answer for the current situation we're in. Obviously, David Miliband is one of them, and David is a friend of mine, and I can say this. I think, he should have probably stood earlier. And had he stood before and maybe challenged Brown, I think we might not be in this situation, because I think he actually could have beat David Cameron in an election. But he still could come back. And actually, I do think there's an appetite for him. So if he came back, if what you're saying is right, Greg, and there's a new party and he comes back, I think that in itself could...
Do you think the party would let him?
Well, the new party would.
No, but the trouble is you've got to get a seat. I mean,
somebody would stand down.
Let's look carefully at whether Ed Balls stands again in a decent seat this time. Because if Ed Balls stood in a decent seat after Strictly, he's now a popular figure.
The people treasure, people love him.
No, you're discounting the membership of the Labour Party, surely, aren't you? And that's why that Mr Corbyn enjoys this position of strength, which Greg is quite rightly
attested to. What Greg is saying is if this split
But where do they all go? Where do these other people who are currently... Do they just vanish into the mists, do they?
Well, Jeremy Corbyn has had all this support. I mean, I was one of the people who supported his bid for the leadership, by the way. Yes. I had the utmost respect for Jeremy Corbyn as a backbench MP, as a campaigner, as a politician of integrity. I still give him that. And I really resent this narrative that we heard from John McDonnell, that everybody who is now criticising Jeremy Corbyn is part of this kind of right-wing conspiracy to keep him out of power.
This elite.
It's nonsense. A lot of people gave him a chance. We gave him a chance. He messed up. He's not been an effective leader. We've had basically no opposition. So it's time for him to step aside and for new people to come in. And I just find it remarkable that he just won't accept that it's not working.
I do think that a lot of people initially supported him, because one of my brothers was a massive, Jeremy Corbyn fan, massive. And when I called him up a couple of weeks ago and said, what do you think now? He was like, honestly, even for me, he just feels like he's going off and doing his own thing and disregarding the rest of the party.
Your brother's vote in the Hull election. This is what I need to know.
If I'm completely honest...
In a family seat, because it is a family seat.
In my family seat. Well, I think there's a lot of people that might not vote. I mean, if I stood and my brother didn't vote, he'd be in trouble, obviously.
Do you think a lot of Labour people simply won't turn up?
I think that's one of the risks that I think, not just Labour, I think one of the risks is that a lot of people will just go, do you know what, A, I can't be bothered to do this again, B, there's no one that even represents me anyway, so C, I'm just going to stay at home. And I think that would be the worst thing that could happen.
What's your my family seat is... is Hayes and Harlington, which happens to be the seat of the Shadow Chancellor, who you were so nice about just now.